Nicely done, readers. There are several fable traits in this, isn't there? It's a short story. Look, it's only 1 page long. It has animals that talk and think like humans do in it. And also, there is a moral. We're going to talk more about the moral in just a little bit, but there is a moral or a lesson that we can learn from this story. So you know that a moral means a lesson that is learned from a story or an experience. We've learned so far 2 different ways that we can figure out the moral or the lesson of the story. We can look at problem and solution and think, what does that teach me about being a better person? We can look at a character's actions and the results of their actions and think, what can I learn from that? And today we're going to learn our final way. We can look at character change. How does the character change from the beginning of the story to the end of the story? That can teach us an important lesson. Here are the questions we ask ourselves when doing this work. How did the character act or think at the beginning of the story? How did the character act or think at the end of the story? And what moral can that teach me? Let's take a look back at Rooster from the fable, The Young Rooster. First, I'm going to make a 3-column chart in my notebook to keep track of my thoughts. I'd label it beginning, end, and moral. Here's where I fill in the answers to my questions. How did Rooster act, or what was Rooster thinking at the beginning of the story? Well, in the beginning, Rooster crowed weakly, didn't he? He did not have a good, strong, solid crow. He crowed weakly. That was at the beginning. Then I asked, how did the character act or think at the end? Well, at the end, he crowed the loudest crow ever. So I put that under end. But now I have to think, what can I learn from that? So what can I learn from how he changed? First, he crowed very weakly, but then he crowed the loudest crow ever. Well, from that, I can learn that you shouldn't keep up. Don't give up, keep trying. If Rooster had given up after the first time he crowed, he would have never realized that he could get better. And so I can learn that I should never keep up, I should keep trying. That's an example of how a character's change can teach me a moral. Let's read another fable and see if we can determine another moral. This fable is called The Lobster and the Crab, so follow along with me as I read. On a stormy day, the crab went strolling along the beach. He was surprised to see the lobster preparing to set sail in his boat. "Lobster," said the crab, "it is foolhardy to venture out on a day like this." So foolhardy is one of those words like foolish. It means not a very smart thing to do. "Perhaps so," said the lobster, "but I love a squall at sea." Squall is another word for a big storm. "I will come with you," said Crab. "I will not let you face such a danger alone." The lobster and the crab began their voyage. Soon they found themselves far from shore. Their boat was tossed and buffeted by the turbulent waters. "Crab!" shouted the lobster above the roar of the wind. "For me, the splashing of the salt spray is thrilling. The crashing of every wave takes my breath away." "Lobster, I think we're sinking," cried the crab. "Yes, of course we're sinking," said the crab. "This old boat is full of holes. Have courage, my friend. Remember, we are both creatures of the sea." The little boat capsized and sank. "Horrors!" cried the crab. "Down we go!" shouted the lobster. The crab was shaken and upset. The lobster took him for a relaxing walk on the ocean floor. "How brave we are," said the lobster. "What a wonderful adventure we've had." The crab began to feel somewhat better. Although he usually enjoyed the quieter existence, he had to admit the day had been pleasantly out of the ordinary. All right, time to use our character change strategy to see if we can determine the moral. On the next Nearpod slide, I want you to fill in this chart, thinking about Crab. How did Crab feel at the beginning of the story? How did he feel at the end of the story? And what is a moral or a lesson you can learn from it? Try the workout on the next Nearpod slide.